the American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
2016, year of the snake. Time for a change in the White House, y'all. Liberty. Bring it.
How's it going, my friends? How's it going, Teresa? There's my Munkin. Good to see you all. Click the share button. Let everybody know we're live. We got stuff to talk about. How's it going, Nick? Good to see you. Bill, how's it going? Good to see you. Just click the share button. Get a chance to let folks know we are in the room. Hello, Loretta. Hello, Teresa. How are you doing, my friends? Yeah. Thank you for sharing, folks. Thank you for sharing, Lenny. We're going to talk about that too, Loretta. Thank you for reminding me. That was the other thing I wanted to put in topics. Bill, it's a great book. I have my copy right here by the desk. Right here near my Constitution. Always keep your Constitution in hand's reach. In hand's reach. In case you encounter liberals. They don't know anything about this. They're very confused people. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. But luckily our founders wrote it all down. So we can read it back to them. Which we did. Somebody needs to read Schiff some rules too. I mean, I feel like we'll talk about it. We will talk about it, you guys. So click the share button. Let your friends know. Carol, good to see you. Let everybody know we're live. Fight the system. Fight the censorship. Fight Zuckerberg. You know, he says, Zuckerberg says he's going to stop blocking political speech. Yeah, I didn't believe him either. Didn't believe it either. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk.
9 p.m. tonight, my campaign team
I
me an updated list of my supporters.
I love that President Trump commercials just pop right up in there. But President Trump, we got topics to talk about. I want to thank everybody. Welcome them to the show. You are, of course, watching Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. I am Suzzanne Monk. We're 8 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital, where Schiff is saying some crazy things over there. We're about 15 minutes away from our president's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful White House. We're very far away from Miami, where the Super Bowl was. We would, of course, thank Chris McDonald, our Munkin in the room. He is representing Trump Talk US, greeting patriots, sharing links all of that good stuff. So I will remember, actually, Chris, it makes sense if you share the links, if I show the links so that other people can see them as well. So that way, not all the platforms. We are broadcasting, of course, on Facebook, but we are also broadcasting on Periscope and YouTube all at the same time. So it does help to have people see those links, and I'm trying to get a little better using the technology. We want to, of course, thank our sponsor, sendmeg.com. If you are in the New England, New York, Ohio, Ontario area, you need any kind of delivery or delivery assistance, oversized load assistance, medical delivery, special kind of delivery, hazmat delivery, anything. Sendmeg.com. It's really easy to remember. And she has been a great supporter of the show, but she's also a great patriot, a hardworking veteran, and somebody who can take care of your delivery needs. So it's a win-win for us because she supports us and we support her. Boom. That's how it works, people. That's how it works. Big shout out to our friends at the Trump Towel. Diane Ventura working hard, getting signatures for the Roger Stone petition. Pardon Roger Stone petition. Obviously, we continue to work forward on that. We continue to fight for our friend Roger Stone, as we saw in the interview. I'm going to be reposting that interview in its entirety a little bit later on, probably today, tomorrow. Yeah. So let's talk about the topics, you guys. Okay. Super Bowl. Now, I know a lot of folks who are conservatives, who are patriots, don't watch NFL. And I also know a lot of other patriots who watch the NFL, but they don't say they watch the NFL. And, then there are some people who are like Sunday, like Easter churchgoers. They only watch the NFL, like for Super Bowl. Actually, a lot of people like that. But yesterday's Super Bowl was, of course, a game between the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers. The game was fantastic, but what everybody is talking about, the game was literally a very tight game. It was a come from behind, great skill in the game, not a lot of penalties. People really were able to enjoy the game. I feel like we're not talking about the game at all. What we're talking about is this stupid halftime show. Yet again, the halftime show has slutted itself out so much. No one is even talking about the football victory. Everyone is just talking about the halftime show because, as you know, as everyone I think in America knows, Shakira and J-Lo did a halftime show together that featured a stripper pole, very scanty, like bikini, thigh-high, thong-level bikini kind of outfits, a lot of shaking butts, a lot of symbolic references for which we could discuss the origin all night long. Inappropriate for children. The stripping pole, the grinding on the floor, the crawling around with your crotch in the cameras, the constant camera in the vagina area, all inappropriate for children. Now, I wanted to talk about this topic for a little bit because there's a lot of folks that, unfortunately, even on the conservative side, seem to think that if I in any way push back on hypersexualization of a family show, I'm being prudish. That somehow I'm just being uptight about, or jealous. That was another thing. You're just jealous that those women have beautiful bodies and they're dancing around. I'm not uptight. I'm not jealous. But I understand that some things are for children and some things are not for children. For example, drag queens, not for kids. Drag queens are not for kids, right? That's an adult behavior. Now, it's not that I don't like drag queens. I like drag queens. I enjoy a good drag show in the proper place, in the drag show, in the adult club where there are adult beverages. Okay, great. Not at the library with the little 3-year-olds where you have to put a disclaimer. This literally, there's a drag queen story time here in DC where they are saying that the content of the story time may be inappropriate for young children, and then they encourage young children to come. So if I want to go see strippers, which I have, I have watched women take off their clothes. I'm not in any way opposed to women being sexy. It's not about the fact that there are strippers. If women want to be a stripper, you have the body for it. You want to make your money that way. Not my problem, not my business. I'm a capitalist. I support it. Okay? But when I'm in a setting where family members, small children, medium-aged children, teenage children are going to be watching something, it needs to be what we call family friendly. Now, that doesn't mean it needs to be all, prudish and, everything uptight. It can still be sexy. It can still be fun. And I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to share this video. I wanted to show you, you live at 100%. Now, I'm going to show you a video from 2015, from the Super Bowl halftime show from 2015. We're going to skip through it a little bit. I've watched the whole video, and I can probably find the sluttiest parts, but the whole thing, it's Katy Perry. It's Katy Perry's show with Missy Elliott, and she has Lenny Kravitz. Much less slutty. And I want to show you a little bit so that we can get a comparison, because I know y'all are having the same arguments with your friends. Some of your friends who are all, oh, you're just being uptight and you're being prudish. No, this is how it's always been. This is how we're going to talk about the tongue thing in a minute, Nick. This is how it's always been. It's just entertainment. It's just the Super Bowl. Don't you remember the wardrobe malfunction? Yes, I do. And I remember we freaked out. And I remember the NFL changed the rules. And we literally changed whether or not you could have a live broadcast happening because of that. So I do believe that appropriate outrage is useful. So let's share this. Let's share this page. I want to share this screen with you for a second. We're going to do a pair. We're going to do this. We're going to pull this up, share that. Okay. And we're just going to play here.
The National Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show.
Do you remember this one? Do you guys remember this halftime show? Huge, beautiful graphics. Props. And she's still in a miniskirt. But it's not crazy. Let's scan ahead a little bit, because I don't want to watch the whole thing, because they'll block me for it. But this is just a great moment. Well, it was a great Super Bowl moment right there. That's what I'm talking about. Look at these costumes here. Okay. It's still sexy. But it's not ridiculous. It's not vaginas everywhere. The costumes are relevant to the song, to the set. Now this part here is the smuttiest part. There's this interaction here between Katy. Yeah, see, this is a little bit. So it wasn't prudish show in any way. They're singing "I Kissed a Girl" for crying out loud. So it's not prudish. But it's not, you don't see 7,000 vaginas. Let's just move on here. We'll go ahead. Oh, here's the little on her knees period for a second there. Okay, so still titillating, still sexy. This part, of course, we all love this part. Left shark, right shark. This is a family show. You still have a mini skirt. Yes, the cheerleaders are still wearing short skirts, but it's a fun show. It's not a stripper pole and grinding naked, half-naked men in bondage outfits. It's not. It's just not. And we'll move ahead. Oh, this is the scantiliest clad that women get. We're gonna skip ahead up here. Missy Elliott totally bringing it. Look at all of Missy's dancers totally clothed. Classy. Still top of the line acts, top of the line numbers. The sweatshirt thing was dumb. I remember commenting on that. But we end the whole thing with this iconic moment. So this is what I'm talking, you guys. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that it is a matter of fact that last night's show was a slut fest, whereas other shows that have had famous female pop stars, so it's not women, it's not that all female pop stars dress like that, not true. It's not, we saw Missy Elliott and we saw Katy Perry not in vagina bikini costumes, okay? We saw that. It's not that all of the choreography is smutty, because we saw in Katy Perry's show and Missy Elliott's dancers not smutty performing. It's not that it has to be boring and uptight. How's it going, Karen? It's not. I'm catching up. Yes, thank you, Debbie. I was catching up because I was yes, Helen, that was a real production. I agree. This is what I'm saying. Debbie says we agreed. It was totally inappropriate. And this argument that everyone is making that somehow we're racist because we don't accept that Latina women need to dance around like that and show off that much crotch. I am not upset by Shakira needing to do her belly dancing. The belly dancing is fine. Okay, I really don't have a problem with that. Where I get a problem with it is when you're grinding, your crotch is in the camera, and the whole show becomes about your crotch in the camera. That's where I go, we're not dancing anymore. We're not just being sexy. We're being strippy. And that is too far for a family show. It's just pretty straightforward, simple stuff. It's not racist to expect Latina women to be able to be respectful of their bodies. In fact, it's racist to think what they're saying. It's racist to suggest that because they're Latina women, if we don't accept their exploitation, their sexual exploitation of themselves or of them being exploited by their producers, we're racist. I love Latina women. Love them. I don't actually want them to be treated like whores in the middle of the Super Bowl. So, ridiculous. And you have every right to be outraged. If we are not outraged when the NFL goes too far, it will continue to go too far. Look, how we got to Katy Perry, how we got to that show, how we got to where we don't even do live feeds anymore was because we had Costume Gate. You remember? How's it going, Luis? Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson's boob accidentally fell out. Then we had to debate for 7 million weeks whether it was full boob, whether it was a nipple. Why did she have a pasty on? Because we had a pasty. So you have a pasty, so you knew your boob was coming out. You didn't know your boob was coming out. It was an accident. It wasn't an accident. Oh my God. That went on for ridiculous ever. And what happened was the backlash from that actually resulted in more conservative family programming for a period of time. Then it got worse again. Now we're here. Now they mounted a stripper pole in the middle of the field. And really, let me just say on top of that, really lazed out. Lazed out on the rest of the production value. As you saw with the Katy Perry halftime show, beautiful. Big sets, big lights, big lasers, big technology. She's flying around on a rocket thing. Okay? Big stage production, something strong, visual, lots of stuff going on. Last night's show, the reason I think the cameras actually spent a lot of time looking at the crotches is because there wasn't anything else going on stage that was worth looking at. I mean, I'm not saying the dancers were bad. They were fine. But the stage production, it didn't have that whole lighted area. The crowd on the ground was just the guests. Like, they just were doing their lighters, like, or their phones. Now we don't do lighters anymore. Phones. Yeah, Janice, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm glad you brought that up. None of that production value, all of that, those on-field performers that are part of the crowd, so much better in previous years. Janice, I'm going to bring this up. Janice says, sex touching, it was a sick show, target the kids, sex on the floor was in her song. Yes. And worse than just the music being sexual, because as we saw with Katy Perry, she sang I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. That's a very sexual song. Was it a little racy? Sure. It can be a little racy. But are there children on stage with you while you're grinding and talking about sex? Yeah, that's what happened last night. Because they thought it was going to be more appropriate for them to make a political statement. The stupid little round globular cages, which, by the way, y'all on the left, please learn that Obama was the one with the cages. Please learn this. I can't tell you this over and over. It's really it's too much. Learn this fact. Trump did not build the cages for the children. That was Obama. Trump actually took other facilities and built rec centers and game rooms and beds and built actual facilities for children at the border. Snacks, video games. That was Trump. Okay. The cages was Obama. That was Obama. So please, left, please learn this. The cages, the rope symbolism. Roger Goodell, you let it go too far. Now, I do know that the halftime show is not picked by Roger Goodell. It is picked by the city. But the NFL has to sign off on this. So we have every reason to push back. And all your friends who are telling you you're just a prude because you don't think that a stripper pole mounted into the middle of halftime is the best use of your entertainment dollars for what was used to be known as a family-friendly show. I mean, at this point, just show the dang puppies, right? Stop. No more songs. Just puppies. Just bring puppies out. Maybe we can get Prince to come back from the dead and do another show. That was a great show. You see the show? Watch Prince's halftime show. It's playing in the pouring rain. It could be electrocuted. It could nearly die. Fantastic. Sad. Sad, 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 sad. All sad. All right. I'm glad we got this off the chest. I just want to give you guys some weapons, some tools to argue with these people who obviously seem to think that we should totally just continue to cave to hypersexualization of children. And that somehow if we don't accept sexualizing children, we're somehow prudish, we're somehow uptight. It's just not true. It's just not true. All right. I want to talk about a few things. One, Rush Limbaugh's announcement today that he has stage 4 lung cancer. We, of course, wish the best for Rush and his family. any potential recovery. We're, of course, praying for miraculous recovery for him. And it is hitting the conservative media community pretty hard. Kind of disturbing are how the leftists are responding, because, of course, they are horrible, toxic people who are now wishing more pain and suffering. More pain and suffering. So for his family, more pain and suffering on his family, because they're leftists and they hate Rush Limbaugh. So it's absolutely, I literally, I think about it and I get a little, the things the crazy left will say. Unbelievable. The things they will say about people, and their hate and their evil is just absolutely. So we, of course, here on the show, issue our support and our prayers, and certainly shame on you leftists for the hate. Now, I just want to say, we have to be careful not to do the same thing. And I find that sometimes even right-wingers will, when we see someone on the right, on the left, who gets sick or something bad happens to them, we jump on it. And we mock. We can't be hypocritical. We have to be fair. So if you're going to be a jerk and mock people when they're dying, you should do that on both sides of the aisle. I'm just saying. So, and hey, on that note, I'm actually just glad to see that Rush has gotten this far. We all thought he was going back during the OxyContin days, and we're happy to see that it took this long to get to the next real concern. I mean, this might be the result of listening to too many Democrats. I can see where listening to Schiff, listening to Nancy Pelosi, listening to these crazy people would, in fact, give you a brain tumor. Just the thing that Schiff said today, we're going to talk about this in a second here. Just the thing that Schiff said today would give you a brain tumor, because this man is so dumb. So dumb. We're going to talk about that in a second. I want to talk first. Before I do that, I want to talk a little bit, while I'm talking about the hateful left, I want to talk about the shutdown of the Walkaway event with, obviously, Blair White. They had Lady Maga. Lady Maga, beautiful patriot drag queen. Blair White, one of our great patriot transgender individuals. She's gorgeous. Scott Pressler was there. Brandon Straka was there. Somebody else was there that the name is not. Anyway, big event. A lot of great patriots gathered up. The venue canceled the event. So it was held on the street. They literally stood outside with a bullhorn and still spoke to people. They were protested by the left and crazy screaming Antifas, screaming about diversity and how they should be more tolerant. Crazy, skinny white people screaming in the face of transgendered people because they didn't agree with their politics. It looks like the San Francisco law enforcement is not going to be pressing any charges, despite the fact that Brandon Straka was assaulted. Other members were physically engaged by the leftists, but there apparently is not going to be any follow through, as usual, in many of these liberal cities. So I want to just state, for the record, I just want to say to all of course, Scott Pressler, Brandon Straka, Blair White, Lady Maga, all of those folks there at the event who stood their ground, who continued to hold the event. And I know part of that is just Brandon. Brandon, thank you for just going ahead. I was worried, but to know that you are not going to be silenced is going to make the left stop trying, or try harder, but one of the two. And frankly, as we've seen from their recent events, the left is not nearly as powerful as it used to be. As you might have seen over the weekend, Antifa leftists tried to shut down, or effectively, temporarily, mildly shut down traffic in Central Station, in the subway stations in New York City, blocking people from access on and off the train, slowing down traffic, because they want the entire train system to be free and they want the police to not exist. Now, there were several arrests, and of course, they'll all be let right back out on the streets because of New York bail reform, which is one of the reasons you see these kind of activities occurring in places like San Francisco, in places like New York, because those are the places where their criminal cronies can get away with it. In fact, that's part of the process. By weakening the criminal laws that would allow you to prevent or curtail this kind of political terroristic behavior, you actually encourage it and allow it. So it becomes something quite easy for people like Bob Kramer of Democracy Partners, as we all know from the 2016 Trump Project Veritas video drop. As we know, we have new Project Veritas video drops for this election. But in the 2016 election, we, of course, saw Project Veritas reveal Bob Kramer and the DNC partners, Democracy Partners, in partnership with the DNC, paying individuals to incite violence at Trump events, paying protesters to incite violence. So nothing has changed. The tactics haven't changed. They just have less and less numbers, which is why they can only operate in these. They really can't do it as well in cities like Chicago. They have to be in places like New York where they are in lockstep, where their law they have bail reform. How do they call it bail reform? They have criminal catch and release, okay, which is the real thing. It's criminal catch and release. They have a liberal leftist court system. They have a finite area that they can shut down and create a large impact and get a lot of media, but they don't have the numbers anymore. And we're seeing this more and more across the country. And certainly you could have seen it in the Walkaway event. You could see it in the Walkaway event. Now, let's talk a little bit. I want to bring on for a second, because every now and then we have a Bernie supporter who pops into the room. And so it's a perfect time. Actually, let's put this comment up, because this one, at least you did spell it correctly. So we're going to I appreciate you corrected your work, Millennial for Bernie. I appreciate you corrected your work. But I wanted to pull you up because I wanted to discuss a little bit the Iowa caucuses. It's actually perfect that you're here today, right now, to talk about it, because the Iowa caucuses are in effect. And what are we seeing right now? Well, we're seeing already throughout the election, Bernie continuing to be pushed back and back. Bernie's doing very well tonight in the caucuses, actually. It's kind of interesting. But oddly, the Democrats have now already started talking about the process of reneging their agreement to withhold the superdelegates in the first vote, intentionally, in order to make sure that your candidate, Millennial for Bern, that your candidate will not get the nomination. Just like they did in 2016. They changed the rules to make sure that Bernie didn't get the nomination. They literally stole 10 million votes from Bernie Sanders and gave them to Hillary Clinton. So actually, no, they're not. In fact, Millennial for Bern, I'll tell you what. When you have the Democratic primary, come back on the show, because we do this show 3 nights a week now. We'll probably be doing it 5 nights a week again when that time comes. After the DNC, okay, after the Democratic National Convention, where they pick the nominee, and it's not Bernie. When it's not Bernie, come back and let's have a conversation. Okay, will you do that? Let's see if they'll respond. Will you come back on this show after the Democratic National Convention so we can discuss how they stole it from Bernie again? I'd love to discuss that with you. Let's see if she's answered. Oh, great. Of course you will. Fantastic. Because I saw this already. And frankly, something that not everybody knows about me. I know you will. Listen to this. I know you will, but I'm going to support the Democratic nominee regardless, which is interesting, because if the Democratic nominee is Mike Bloomberg, then you're literally supporting the exact rich, wealthy banking dudes that Bernie keeps telling you are ruining the world. I don't know how you're going to justify that. But you know what? We can talk about that more when Bernie has the election stolen from him again, which it will happen. Because here, this is what I'm going to tell you, something not all that known. I actually have voted on both sides of the aisle. I'm not always a conservative. I haven't always voted for Republicans. In the 2008 primary, I voted for Hillary Clinton against Barack Obama because I knew Barack Obama. He was a Chicagoan. I knew what we were getting. I would rather have Hillary Clinton. Guess what? They stole that election from Hillary Clinton. Where did they do that? In the caucuses where they're at right now. You know how they do it? It's so super easy. It's so super easy. They literally just stick the vote sticker and they just count it however they want. And that's what they were doing back all the way in 2008 when Hillary Clinton ran against Barack Obama in the primary. They literally just counted Hillary caucus voters for Obama. To great outrage within the party, the great outrage within the party. So, unfortunately, I would never come back and vote for the Democrat Party because I know what a bunch of lying thieves they are, how they have no interest in supporting the voters. They do not have your concerns at heart. They literally will allow a billionaire radical leftist who wants to ban your sodas and take away your liberties because he knows better than you. Okay. They'll literally let him buy his way onto the ticket. That's the Democrats. So, yeah. Not the party of Frederick Douglass. He was a Republican. Not the party of our founding fathers. Certainly they were not communists anyway. Not the party, not even the party of JFK. The leftists. It's been fun discussing that. All right, let's talk about the State of the Union address. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the State of the Union address. I will be at Trump International tomorrow. We're going to be watching it there as we do each and every year. So much fun. Always great to be with a bunch of patriots, especially with all the winning we're going to see. Because as we know, the impeachment trial, that vote's going to actually be on Wednesday. We do know that the Senate has voted to not invite additional witnesses. That was the House's job. They brought the charges. They chose not to bring any additional witnesses. And so we will, of course, there's going to be some fun gloating. It's going to be interesting to see how the Democrats sit there and pout their little faces and certainly mope. There's going to be a lot of moping, but we're going to be watching it. It's going to be a good time. And we'll certainly see. I'm gonna add this comment. I'm gonna add this. But the Bernie movement has grown even stronger this election. Sweetheart, it actually hasn't. The Bernie movement was as strong as it ever was in 2016 before Bernie sold out and told you all to go ahead and give your vote to the woman who stole 10 million votes from him. Since then, Bernie has not had the trustworthiness of the movement, which is why you have folks splitting their vote between Elizabeth Warren, between Buttigieg, between other candidates. That's why you had such a broad ticket, because if Bernie had been integritous and not lost most of his own voters through selling out to the Democrat Party when they screwed him in the backside, maybe. That didn't happen. He caved. That's why there's a lot of Bernie supporters who came and voted for Trump. Just a fact. So we're going to be watching the State of the Union address. I expect the president to be touting a lot of his success stories. It's going to be very exciting. And we're certainly going to see a lot of good. I know angel moms are going to be there. I know we're going to have veterans. I always look forward to the guests. Last year's State of the Union was so moving because of the guests that were invited. So it's going to be a great night. I know Nigel Farage will be present at the State of the Union address. Insider information. So, gonna be fun. We're gonna enjoy that tomorrow. I wonder if Trump is going to talk about this craziness though. So, let's talk about what Adam Schiff said on the floor of the Senate. And I put this out to our friend here, our Democrat voting friend here. I put this out. This is the idiot This fear-mongering and lying and misinformation are the Democrat Party. This is the let's just watch it. We're going to do this. Let me click over here to the share. This is the Democrat Party. I'm going to show you exactly what the Democrat Party is right now. Hold up. Let's get over here. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to share. We're going to share the screen. There we go. We're going to push play.
If abuse of power is not impeachable, even though it is clear the founders considered the highest of all high crimes and misdemeanors, but if it were not impeachable, then a whole range of utterly unacceptable conduct in a president would now be beyond reach. Trump could offer Alaska to the Russians in exchange for support in the next election, or decide to move to Mar-a-Lago permanently and let Jared Kushner run the country.
Okay. I'm going to review that. Let's go. Let's just review what he just said real quick. Let's just go right back here. Go ahead. Say this again, Adam Schiff.
In the next election, or decide to move to Mar-a-Lago permanently.
Wait. Let's go back. No. Go back a little more. A little more.
The president would now be beyond reach. Trump could offer Alaska to the Russians in exchange for support in the next election, or decide to move to Mar-a-Lago permanently and let Jared Kushner run the country, delegating to him the decision whether to go to war. Because those things are not necessarily criminal, this argument would allow that he could not be impeached for such abuses of power.
Okay. Adam. Let's review. Okay. We are a republic. Okay. Of 50 states. We're a union of those 50 states. You can, in fact, not give the sovereign state of Alaska to the Russians. That, in fact, is criminal. That would literally be a Russian invasion. The president, there is nothing the president can do to give Russia a state. Not physically possible. Not constitutionally possible. Okay? Nothing. The president, I don't even think has the authority to give U.S. land to a foreign entity, let alone an entire state. And yet we have Adam Schiff on the floor of the Senate literally telling an outright and utter outrageous lie to the American people to make them panic and fear that if they do not support this grossly negligent, unevidenced, unsupported, partisan attack impeachment and help them falsely and criminally remove the president without any crimes or misdemeanors because they want you to accept abuse of power as a high crime or misdemeanor. But you see, this is why we have this. Okay, this is why we have the rule in this. This is why we have the rule of law in this country. Okay, because there are actually checks and balances. There are actually rules for each branch of office. Okay, and those rules are carefully written down. My property is protected. My right to self-defense is protected. My right to free speech is protected. All right, because these are enumerated. The powers are enumerated. The powers that are protected from the government can't hurt me. I'm protected from the government. Those are also enumerated. What we have here is a senator who is engaging in domestic terrorism on the floor of the Senate. And unfortunately, you can't be arrested for doing anything on the floor of the Senate. That's the rules. So they can't arrest you. When you're sitting on that floor, you can say any crazy, stupid thing, no matter how much of a lie. You cannot be tried. You cannot be charged. You cannot be issued a citation for slander. None of it. You can say whatever crazy ass thing comes into your mind that you think you and the Democrats have now lost their minds entirely, and they're willing to engage in outright slander. Yes, 100%. Let's put this up, Otis. Just more evidence that the D's are telegraphing that the impeachment was just a political dream. It was always a political dream. They have nothing. The only way they could have possibly done this is if they controlled the Senate and the House. They need both the Senate and the House. Both the Senate and the House. If they had the Senate and the House, if we'd have been a little lazier this time around in 2018, excuse me, lost a couple more Senate seats, we would be standing in front of the White House right now with pitchforks fighting it out because they would have removed our president. So this is why it's so important that we get out and we fight these races, each and every single state race, that we fight back against these House Democrats, we fight back against these Senate Democrats, and we're going to have to make some, it's 2020. We don't have a lot of time to pick and choose and get the best candidate and then be mad at the other candidates that aren't MAGA enough. We have backstabbing, we have we have patriot candidates stabbing each other in the back. We need to pick one and go with it. We need to pick the best candidate, even if it's not our first choice. We need to vote for that. We need Republicans in that Congress. We need Republicans in that Senate. If we don't have it, we might as well just not vote for Trump. If we cannot ensure the House returns to Republican control, then we don't even need Trump. If we can't get the House, Trump isn't going to do us any good. I'm going to say it. If we can't get the House back, why we elected Trump is not going to happen. Because we'll never be able to get it passed. We've barely been able to get past many things. Many of the things that Trump has been able to do for us, he has been only able to do through executive order. Why is he using executive order? Because he doesn't have the House, because we don't have control of Congress yet. So we can't get the bills passed because we have the Congress, the House of Representatives, who is ruled by resistors and impeachers, and we have the Senate who is run by a bunch of lukewarm Trump supporting Republicans at best, many of them also rhinos, never Trumpers. So we need to work very, very hard. All right. Let's see if we can go back. I want to play this. I want to play the rest of Adam's shit. I don't think I even finished this. I don't even think I finished this craziness. Let's play the rest of this. Let's go over here and play the rest of this. Hold on. We're going to just play it all again. Because it's not that long, and it is that shocking. Watch it again.
If abuse of power is not impeachable, even though it is clear the founders considered the highest of all high crimes and misdemeanors, but if it were not impeachable, then a whole range of utterly unacceptable conduct in a president would now be beyond reach. Trump could offer Alaska to the Russians in exchange for support in the next election, or decide to move to Mar-a-Lago permanently and let Jared Kushner run the country, delegating to him the decision whether to go to war. Because those things are not necessarily criminal, this argument would allow that he could not be impeached for such abuses of power.
This crazy guy is on the same streets I'm driving on, you guys. I know y'all are worried about Adam Schiff, but literally, I live in D.C. That lunatic is on the streets of D.C. in vehicles, driving around like me. I'm literally scared for my life, you guys. I'm literally scared for my life. Nick says, John James from Michigan. I love John James. Huge John James fan. Been a John James fan since the day he announced last time around. Met him several times. He's a great guy. He's a great candidate. He's everything you could want in a candidate. The reason we don't have Senator John James right now is because election fraud. Because we didn't have the election poll watching. We didn't have people on the ground ready in Michigan to jump out and call out the fraud. We had it in Florida. That's how we got Ron DeSantis. That's how we did very well in Florida. We didn't have that same task force ready to hit the ground and push back against the Democrats stealing the election in Michigan. And that's why we don't have Senator John James today. So it is my hope and my belief that John James, as have other candidates who found the Democrats are going to steal, like Young Kim out of California, found that the Democrats are willing to steal the election right out from under your nose, as they will do, figured out how to fight fire with fire. We see Young Kim. She's over there using the ballot harvesting law in her favor. Instead of having it used against her, she's using it for herself. And I'm assuming the same thing is happening with John James. I think he's made some good decisions. And we're going to see that going forward. And as always, I don't think I can say it enough. Marjorie Taylor Greene, my Patriot sister down in Georgia, running in, I believe now, Georgia's 14th district. She's making waves. Great stuff. Great candidate. Running, constantly focused. Her messaging is on point. Laura Loomer, great news for Laura Loomer's campaign down in Florida. She has outraised fundraiser-wise all of her primary challengers. So it's kind of a lot. Oh, now there's a lot of folks who have said, well, Laura's running in a very Democrat district. There's no way she's going to win. Why is she even running? It's just a publicity stunt. Look, this is why I started the show, you guys. I started the show several years ago. Now it's been 3.5 years, going on 4 years I've been doing the show. I started it because I got tired of saying the same thing on the internet over and over, because people would say dumb things and then I would have to say it like 100 times and say, no, that's dumb. No, that's dumb. No, that's dumb. And I got tired of saying it over and over to individuals. So I said, you know what? I'm going to tell everybody the facts one time on a show. I'm going to do a show. That way I don't have to tell you 10 times you're dumb. You don't understand capitalism. You don't understand liberty. You don't understand the Constitution. I don't have to explain it. We can just talk about it on the show. That's why I started doing the show. We're still in that need. We're still doing that. We're still doing that to this day. I still have to explain to people. That's why we sell the show. I still have to explain to folks what our strategy is, why we need to push back on the Democrats, how important it is to make sure that not a single seat is run unopposed. No Democrat should run unopposed in this country. I don't care if it's an 80% district. I don't care. Every district that they have to put up a fight in is district they have to spend money in. Every dollar they have to spend is a dollar they can't spend on something else. It's basic strategy. Look, it's war strategy. Lao Tzu would have told you this. This is the reason the Russians marched back up into Russia and dragged the Germans up with them to their demise. Okay? Because what they did was they starved the German soldiers of resources. They didn't have access to the food, to the water, to the necessary supplies. Supplies, i.e. money, equals military victory. Okay? Supplies, i.e. money, equals political victory. If they have less money, they're going to be less victorious. If they have to spread that money a farther distance, they're going to be less victorious. Logic. Yes, thank you, Chris. Simple logic. It makes them spend money defending that seat. I want to spend every Democrat dollar as possible. And they're going to have to spend good money on Laura, too, because Laura's got a lot of press. She's got a lot of attention. That's going to be fun. Laura could even pull it out. I think she has the capacity to pull it out. I think she has the gumption. I won't put anything past Laura Loomer. Not one thing past Laura Loomer. But what I will tell you, for free. Okay. She is going to make them spend some money. I love her for it. Whether she wins or not, she's going to be a great voice for us. So we're going to continue to support her and so many other candidates. As I mentioned, we have Deborah Lamb. We have my good friend Mary Burkett out in Utah. Deanna Lorraine out in Nancy's district. Oh my gosh. So it just goes on. It just goes on. There's so many great candidates. We're going to actually be talking to some candidates on the show coming up in the next week or so. I have some interviews coming up over the next week, and we're going to be talking to folks at CPAC as well. So I'm going to be pumping a lot of candidates down your throat, you guys. I'm going to be pumping a lot of candidates down your throats. Down your throats, 100%. So I want to just leave you on this. We will be back again Wednesday after the State of the Union. We'll be back again on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we always are. But I wanted to leave you. I'm going to pull this just back up. We have a lot of stuff going on with the Weinstein case. We have a lot of stuff going on with the Baltimore special election coming up. The media, it's just going to be huge. It's just going to be a lot of hugeness. So I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to leave with this on the outro here.
Welcome you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show.
Thank y'all for tuning into the show. We will be back again Wednesday, they said. I love you guys. I love all the support you give the show. Please continue. Thank you, Janice. Continue to tune in. Continue to share. Let people know we do this show each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Love you guys. Until next time, this is your girl, Suzzanne Monk. Jumping out. Love you guys.